Hello and welcome to another video. Now a little bit of background for this one. I stream. Yes I do. Over on Twitch. You can find a link in the description. We do arty-farty stuff as well as play some games. But for the purposes of this video, what you need to know is that we're doing something called 16 Symbols. Now 16 Symbols is our attempt to write a story around a randomly generated plot structure. In particular the story of an old school JRPG style game. And it's a good collaborative time. Lots of people are designing characters and locations. We're writing the story together. It's a good time. But there are some things about the design of an RPG that get somewhat overlooked in the frenetic pace of Twitch streaming, and that includes enemy design. Now, as of the time of recording, we've just been to a unfriendly location, an evil forest full of creatures and monsters and stuff, and while we did design a couple of bosses, that was fun, we didn't really have time to go over the random enemies that you might encounter in that area, and I thought it'd be fun if we designed just a few little strange critters that would be running around the forest that we could have a little bonk on the head with a broom. That won't make sense unless you've been following the story. Anyway, let's get cracking designing some JRPG enemies. I don't really know what I'm doing at the moment. The only prompt I have in my head is the word cabbage, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here's some sketches. I got a little bit carried away with cabbages and snails, but that's fine. I didn't really have any ideas beyond that until I got to rocks and unicorns. So yeah, we've got some fun little cabbage designs. This is how simple the designs should be before I do the actual proper drawings. But yeah, some cabbage friends, some takes on snails, because we did some bosses in the forest area on stream, and they were both sort of themed around snails. There was another boss themed around rocks, so I decided to do some little rock enemies. There's also a running tomato, something to eat the snails. It's National Unicorn Day, so here's some unicorn things as well as some enemies based on randomly generated names for a random generator I found online. Not entirely sure which of these I'm going to plump for final drawings. I'm sure you're about to find out. I'm about to find out too. Let's go. So this is the first little critter. This is Cabbage Imp. This is what happens when you plant a cabbage to grow it and you forget about it and it just sort of rots away. And it's like, what'd you do that for? You brought me into this world and then you abandoned me. And now it's going to come up and it's going to steal all your tools and ruin the foundations of your outhouse. And it's not going to be good. They're pretty mischievous, but, you know, easy to take out if you have a sharp enough hoe. On to the next one. So this is the second doodle. This is the snail shaman, a snailman. And yeah, they've got a pointy stick because they're here to defend their home, which is the flowers that you just stood on. So yeah, if I were you, I would run in the opposite. Well, you could probably just walk briskly away. It's a snail. It's probably not going to catch up. But you know, regardless, be careful. It's got this pointy, very pointy stick. Next, here's a new friend. This is Ken. It's a Ken. Can you dig it? So I imagine this is sort of like a little burial mound for like a pet dog or something, and then the spirit came back and inhabited the burial mound, and it's just running around, just trying to get attention. Unfortunately, it's made of rock, and it doesn't know that, so it just hurts your shins. But you know, it's a nice little friend. So, I mean, it's an enemy, but you can come to terms with that in your own time. Okay, here is the Snail Eater. There's a lot of snails in this area. Something's got to eat them, and whatever it is that eats them has to actually get into the shells somehow. So I'm sure you can work out precisely how it does that. Yep, that's right, with its sharp claws. This is a ferocious little beastie, and it makes a lot of noise. You can hear this thing for miles just slurping away. It's very disturbing. That's the sound of a loud car. Just pulling up down there. I'm pretty sure that's not a pink and purple and blue Snail Eater. If it is, I said they were loud. Is that the noise they make? I don't think it is. Oh, I'm looking at it. It could absolutely make that sound. Right, enemy number 5. This is a bipedal cabbage thing. I have not yet thought of a name for it. This is, you know that old farmer who used to live down the road and he used to shout at you for kids to get off his land and all that sort of stuff. And then he died, and he was buried in his plot. He's come back as a cabbage, and he's not particularly happy about it. Yeah, he's gonna slap you around the ankles with his long tendrils. other than that, not all that dangerous, to be honest. Just, quite grumpy. So here is friend number 6. They might have been a friend once upon a time. This is a snail that has seen better days and seen much better fungi. It's been taken over by some sort of parasitic fungus, and it's not... I don't even know if it's there anymore as a snail. It's mostly fungus. That's what I'm saying. It's mostly fungus at this point. It cannot be held responsible for its actions, which include poisoning you if you go anywhere near it. It's not a, hefty biter, or it doesn't have a pointy stick, but, wear a face mask. Just in general, but in particular, if you're around this guy. Right, okay, enemy number 7. Well, I say enemy. Maybe this is a friend. So this was based on a suggestion by Christy during the stream when a token came up saying, hey, something weird's got to happen. And they suggested that a tomato just runs through screaming. I can't remember the precise details, but here's a running tomato. I imagine they're a friend, and if you help them out, you get a special prize. So, yeah. Thank you, tomato. I don't know where you're going, but I hope you have a good time. Right, enemy number 8. This is the cauliflower, made entirely of scraps of vegetables that were thrown out after children refused to eat them. This is what parents are trying to warn you about. There's nothing to do with your personal health. This is entirely to do with making these things, because they'll flap outside your window at night, and they won't hurt you, they'll just annoy you. Okay, this is a Snail Wisp. This is just a little burst of magical energy that floats around the forest trying to find a home. And if it finds 2 snail shells that match up perfectly, then like a hermit crab, it'll crawl in between the 2 of them, and it'll float around, being a weird spirally wispy thing, which I failed to render particularly well. Here's hoping that the render that's about to fade in right now, here's hoping that's a lot better. I think with colour, it should work out quite nicely. But yeah, it's an ethereal wisp that lives inside a snail shell, because if you don't have a corporeal form, why not try and cram yourself inside a mollusk's previous home? I know I would. And here's number 10. This is Smoke Hood, a name that was plucked out of a random monster generated name thing that I found online. And it works quite well, I think. It's a pitcher plant, and it absorbs all of the pollution from nearby chemical farming and pollutants in the air, and absorbs it into itself and then breathes it onto its prey for the purposes of knocking them unconscious and then consuming them. Because it's nice like that. You've got to hunt somehow, So I'm sure you can add your own ecological disaster parable into this, but for now it's just a big old plant that breathes smoke. And finally, we have a little unicorn snail friend. Apparently, as of the time of recording, today is National Unicorn Day in Scotland, because apparently that's a thing. So here is a happy little unicorn snail who, as long as you don't step on it, you're probably fine. I think they're a good friend and a good way to end this happy little jaunt through the enemies of the first forest area in 16 Symbols. And yes, that's it. That's all we have time for today. So these are our friends. We've met them, and the story moves on. If you want to join us in doing more 16 Symbols related things, you can obviously watch the 16 Symbols streams by going to Twitch in the description below and watching 7 PM GMT every Tuesday. We do these. It's a collaborative event. People can design characters and design locations and stories and all these sorts of things, and hopefully we can shoehorn it in there based on the randomly generated story. But hopefully I can design more little enemies as we go along, as we get to more fraught locations, and we can meet some new strange friends that hopefully do not include old man cabbages. Old man cabbages can resolutely stay where they are. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much to my patrons for supporting me, and for the patrons who kept me company during the filming of this video, because I filmed this while streaming on Discord. We have a little patron Discord that people can go to and have hopefully a good time. So yeah, I was streaming this on Fridays, and that can also be a good time where we can chat and talk about things. So yeah, if you want to be a patron and you want to join in with this sort of thing, again, check in the description below. Thank you everyone for coming along. I hope you have a wonderful time, and I hope the story of your life as it continues makes more sense than the story that is being generated so far. Have a good time, look after yourselves, and I'll see you around. Goodbye. He's gonna whip your legs with his long tendrils. He was always a bit of a dirty old man, wasn't he? So yeah, that's that. I don't know why I want that in the game, but here we are. I think I'm going to do another take of that. This is what happens when you don't plan what you're going to say. Easy to take out if you have a sharp enough hoe. It's things that fall out of my brain. Utter nonsense.